Now to Poland, where incumbent President Andrzej Judah has narrowly beaten challenger Raphael Pataoski in Sunday's presidential vote. Ore Onilere has more on this report.
According to the National Electoral Commission, they said President Duda had won by 51.2% of the votes. This is Poland's slimmest presidential election victory since the end of communism in 1989. At a press conference this morning, the heads of the Electoral Commission said they were unsure when complete results would be announced, as some polling stations had yet to submit their counts. But with 99% of all constituencies having reported their counts, it did not affect the final results, with a voters' turnout reported at 68.2%. One of the major issues of this election was the future of the country's strained relations with the European Union. Mr. Duda is a social conservative allied with the government led by the Nationalist Law and Justice Party, while his opponent, Mr. Pataoski, is a socially liberal mayor of Warsaw. This new presidential victory now means that the governing Law and Justice Party can implement its program unhindered until the next parliamentary election in 3 years.
And global affairs analyst Collins Owinke joins us to discuss the re-election of Poland's conservative president Duda. Good to have you join us, Collins Owinke. Now, what do you make of the fact that, look, this is for President Duda, he won by 51.2%. People are shocked by his re-election, but it's also the slimmest margin when it comes to winning an election in Poland since 1989, 51.2%. What do you make of that?
Next, the fact that the margin of victory by Mr. Duda, the current president, is very narrow. Another issue of concern, of interest, is the fact that the turnout was also very, very high, nearly 70%. Now, when you look at all of this from different perspectives, I think one of the conclusions that you would draw is the fact that number one, Polish people are taking more interest in their politics. Number two is also the worrying trend of a slide to the right wing of the political spectrum, but also the fact that indeed the right of the political spectrum in Poland is not having an easy ride. That is one aspect of this whole election that will give some succor to people on the progressive left.
So we know that before now, in May, if the election was supposed to be held in May, but the coronavirus pandemic did put that election on hold. And according to the polls, President Duda did poll higher in May. Do you think that the drop in polls is a rejection of Mr. Duda or more of an acceptance of Pataoski?
I think the reduction of the lead of Mr. Duda in the intervening period between May and June has much more to do with the fact that the opposition leader actually now had enough time to make his case. Number two is the fact that the way and manner that the COVID-19 was handled left a few things to be desired. And then number three is the fact that it also gave them time. It also gave the opposition, his challenger, more time to mobilize, the Polish diaspora vote, estimated at 500,000 voters. Very active, but also it created the opportunity to mobilize more of young people and convince them about what is in this election for him, because part of his major support base is young people of Poland. So he was able to use this intervening period to reach out to these, various constituencies, support base of his, and with that, he almost, got the victory in his back.
So since mid-2010, we've seen a series of protests in Poland over judicial reforms, and this also caused some sort of strain between Duda and the EU. And we've also seen that this Justice and Law Party, or the Law and Justice Party, where President Duda represents, are also beginning to talk about that controversial reforms in the judiciary. What do you see happening in the next few weeks or months?
We are going to see more intense negotiations between the government of Duda and, European politicians. Now, Duda was very high-handed in terms of, his extremist view on nationalism, anti-gay rights, and so on and so forth. Now, I believe that he did all of that to have the election to his side. Now that he has had the election to his side, it goes without saying that he will relax some of those, hardline views that he has, but only some, because, it is very clear that his major support base is the Roman Catholic faithfuls, who constitute a very large part of the rural area where his votes actually came from. I don't see him compromising on the gay rights. I mean, in terms of how much anti-gay that he is. But on issues of social securities, lowering the retirement age, and so on and so forth, and of course, looking at the economy of Poland, which is not that very much rosy, I see him making some concessions. But then there would be a price to pay, as a matter of fact, in the next round of elections.
Global Affairs Analyst Collins Oweke, thanks for sharing your perspective with us.